What was that, Jack?
Pretty sure we're on air, Jack.
Yeah, we're
Are
live.
we?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was a little introduction from our friend Jack. Little musical number.
I had no idea we were live yet. Okay, then. Well, hello, everyone.
So yeah, I have with me right now. I have Jack from Foul Play, and I have Susan from Foul Play, and they're going to join me this evening because they have both definitely taken a slight interest in the stuff that I talk about with Daniel's case. Susan, you want to say hello to everybody?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Tell our viewers where you're from, Susan.
I am in Southwest Missouri.
Ooh. So you're having some extreme weather.
Yeah, we didn't get much of a storm at all last night. Everything was north of us. All those tornadoes, all that stuff was far north of us. So
Oh, very nice.
I hope everybody came out all right with that. It was crazy weather.
Yeah. I have a son who lives in Farmington. I think it's Farmington Township, Minnesota, and they were under a tornado watch or whatever. Excuse me, whatever that is, last night too. And just for everybody's information, where I live here in Utah, we got dumped last night. We got about, I don't know, 8 inches maybe of snow, and it's currently snowing right now. And I think throughout the day we've probably got another 6 inches easy. So
Wow.
so yeah, and
Wow.
I'm really sorry, but it's coming your way. So
Oh, you can keep it there.
well, no,
You
well,
just hold
there's
on to
more
it.
coming. There's more coming after this. So I got to move one out before I can bring another one in. Oh, thank you, Susan. Jack, you want to say hello?
Well, I kind of thought I already did, but we'll try it again.
Well, you kind of did.
From Southwest Michigan, and it has been kind of crazy here. Not really so much too much inclement weather, but for us, it got right around 60 degrees, actually a little above, and that was I think early this morning. I looked, and then the temperature was falling all day, but the wind is blowing like crazy here. We've had gusts of 50 plus miles an hour.
Wow.
But it's calmed down now. We haven't really gotten, like any tornadoes, which they're kind of rare. 50 degrees though or 60 degrees is really odd for December for this region.
Yep. Yeah, I get that because I had mentioned in the last few weeks. I've told you guys that we had unseasonably warm temperatures here in Utah, and then I don't know, about a week later, here comes all this white stuff. So it's just been like a big storm like this has been rolling in every couple of days, and so, but we're still in a pretty extreme drought here in Utah, so we need it. We definitely need it.
Well, there is a requirement, and I think we've covered this before. You're really kind of required to send that shit kind of southeast. Susan needs to play in the snow some. Yeah, she does. Don't even say you don't. We don't really need anything up here in the upper Midwest. Thank you.
Southeast works just fine for me.
You really, really mean south, though. You mean towards Texas. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You kids, I can't take you anywhere.
Nope.
All right. Well, I'm gonna do a hello to those who are in the chat, and so I want to make sure I will try to do it if others pop in as well. But I want to say hello, JD. You're always here. You're always interested in what we have to say. So thank you for being here. Shaz, I'm so excited you were able to get here instead of in the middle of everything like normally. That's not your fault, I understand, but I'm glad that you were here at the beginning. You'll be very excited about what we have to share tonight. Millbilly, hi, thank you for coming. I appreciate you being here as well. And yeah, y'all with no snow can just keep quiet about that, because I'm done with the snow already, and I don't even go out in it that much.
I'm sure we got plenty coming, so that's why
You
I
really,
said just I
yeah,
have no. Yeah, I mean we've gotten some so far this year, but
just not enough.
well, I mean it's enough for me. After the first couple of times, it's like really pretty and all that out there, but after that it just becomes a chore.
It is a you, you get a lot of those of you who know. You get a lot of snow. It's a lot. It's so much fun for the kids because they go out and frolic and play, and the little doggies run around and roll around in it like it's a big game. And but then somebody that's an adult in the house has to go out and shovel it. So
Well, when you have trucks coming by that are a road scraper's coming up and scraping it up into a big pile, then you got a front end loader and you got dump trucks coming by to pick it up and haul it away.
oh
That's what I'm saying. It just becomes a chore after a certain point in time. But yeah, we've had many years where we get they get so much we get so much snow that they literally scrape it up and put it in trucks. Now take it out over to the mall and a area that's not parked in, and just dump it and it sits there until spring, and then it melts.
right, yeah, we've had those occasions here in past winters, so I get
Right.
it. I get
Yep.
it. All right, well, folks, I have a lot. What is the new thing they're saying now? I have a lot to unpack here today.
Yeah, that document. Oh my God.
Oh my
Uh,
God.
It's
Oh my
insane.
God. It's awesome.
It is.
Yeah, it's insane, but it's incredibly awesome. So,
Yeah.
but what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of start out, and I know we've already done a Gayland Gieger podcast, but this was pre-scandal. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of screen sharing, and I've got it all organized up on my tabs. But try to be patient with me as I try to navigate through those. And when I finish with one, I'll try to X off of it so that I don't keep getting mixed up, because it gets confusing for my ADHD brain, and I haven't slept much, so my excitement level has just been way too over the top. So I will do my very best, and as always, just try to be patient with me. But first thing I'm gonna do is I will remind everybody that Gayland Gieger is he's a current assistant district attorney in Oklahoma County, and he is the prosecutor who prosecuted Daniel's case, lied to the jury about DNA, and gave false reports in the media about DNA and things like that. And but he's currently running for, I think it was in May, he threw his hat in the ring to run for district attorney of Oklahoma County, because thank God for all of you people in Oklahoma, David Prater chose not to run again. And I want to go ahead.
I have a feeling he might be taking his hat out of that ring.
I think so.
He might be. I think he might be.
Yay.
Are you reading that? Going to read the 65-page document? Is that what you're going?
I'm not going to read all 65 pages, but I am going to read the letter. The beginning part for sure.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. So,
some of those exhibits, that letter, God. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and I've downloaded, the letter is just extremely explosive.
Incriminating.
Yeah, just extremely explosive, which is just amazing. But I did go through and find some of the letters from one of the other attorneys, and downloaded them separately. So I can kind of show them, and they'll look a lot better than what they do in this particular letter, 65-page document. So, but Gayland Gieger. Now, I don't know if you guys remember last week, I think it was, when I talked about David Prater, and I was like, why, this man, he's so mad. And I hopefully, I don't know if you remember or not, but I had mentioned that there's a reason. I don't think that, David Prater is just retiring from DA. He's got too big of an ego. He's too arrogant. He's too narcissistic to just be retiring. And I
at 61, right?
It's such a young age. And so, but I mentioned in David Prater's podcast that I was betting there was something more to it. And that, hi, Sue, welcome. Thank you for coming. I was just betting my bottom dollar that there's another reason why David Prater wasn't going to run for 2022. And I didn't know what it was, but I just felt like there was something nefarious that he was trying to dip out on so that he, didn't get thrown out of office or, something like that. But we're not in 2022 yet. So there's still time. But anyway, so what I'm going to do, and so I'll just kind of leave it with that, I'll kind of teaser that we're going to get to a little bit later. But yes, I think my first inkling the comments that I was making about that last week, I think might be now coming to fruition. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Gayland Gieger, who is running for district attorney of Oklahoma County, and he is hoping to take on David Prater's spot. So the first thing I wanted to share with you is Gayland Gieger's LinkedIn page. And kind of show you what, the things that he, his about me section in his LinkedIn page. He says that he supervises a staff of attorneys and supports professionals focusing primarily on prosecution of child abuse and adult sex crime cases, which we know he loves doing because he did that to Daniel. He assists law enforcement investigations, which I also know that he did in Daniel's case. Responsible for charging decisions regarding child abuse and sex crimes. Personally litigates all child murders in the district. Serves as the DA's representative. So he serves as David Prater's representative on the multidisciplinary child abuse task force and facilitates cooperation between task force members, which are law enforcement, children's hospitals and care center, forensic interviews, and things like that, DHS and mental health, etc. Provides legal training, interagency training, assists experienced attorneys in all aspects of prosecution, and presented national trainings, litigated over 200 jury trials to verdict, including Daniel Holtzclaw, and has been directly involved in thousands of criminal prosecutions, presented in numerous state and national training courses for national and state associations and the military. So this guy sounds like a great guy, right? I mean, that's everybody's district attorney's dream, right?
Until you peel one little layer of onion back, and then boy, the bullshit just goes everywhere.
Yeah. So that's Mr. Gieger's LinkedIn page, and he's just a special. And I didn't link it because I couldn't find it. But if you listen to the, if you were able to find it and listen to the what's it called? Oh gosh, I couldn't say it last week either. Hi, Kitty the cat, and Jinx. Welcome. And so I couldn't find it, but it was the four candidates running for district attorney had a little debate between the four of them for the FOP of Oklahoma County. So in that, if you get a chance to listen to it, and I promise I'll try to find, and I know somebody who can probably get me a link really quick. Cherie's not here right now, but I know other people who will be able to grab that link for me pretty quickly. Because if you listen to David Prater, or see, I can't, they're just both one and the same to me. if you listen to Gayland Gieger when it's his turn to speak and his turn to give his answers, he just, the arrogance and the ego just like is dripping from every word he says. It's gross. It's disgusting. So anyway, now he gives this big long speech in there all time. Every time he answers, he's got to give this big long speech about he how he is the best man for the job, and he's this and he's that, and he's so wonderful. Oh, those are really cute. Okay, Nana's doing a show. Okay, my little Nini bug. Sorry. But how he's just the best man because he has all this experience in sex crimes and child abuse, whatever. But he just sounds like a egotistical jerk to me. So I want to show you this picture, and some of you may have wondered on the thumbnail who was this fourth guy that I had on the thumbnail, because it was somebody that we'd never talked about. Well, now I'm going to introduce you to a young man by the name of Jackson Gieger. Jackson Gieger, as you may have guessed, is one of Gayland Gieger's sons. Nice looking young man. Looks like he's goes to Pepperdine University, and a cute little girlfriend, is very active, has all kinds of things, that he does, rock climbing. He's just a all around.
Yeah, he's active, all right. I'll shut up.
Is. Yeah, please either one of you don't hesitate to butt in and comment, because it helps me out a lot. It really does. Now, some of these
privileged little shit.
Thank you. Yeah, so these are these pictures are quite old, really. But that's Jackson Gieger. Nice looking young man. Let me show you his Oops, I've got some messages here, so before I can show him, before I show you Jackson's Facebook page, I need to get rid of those really quick. Thank you, Stacy. I appreciate that. Let's see. So then we're going to look at his Facebook page. I'm just trying to introduce you guys to this kid. Show you what a nice looking young man he is.
Are they all seeing this on YouTube? Because I'm not.
You're not seeing anything on YouTube?
It's probably my YouTube. There we go. Sorry.
Okay.
I could see it.
Okay.
It was lagging.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, the DA form. Thank you. The cat. I appreciate that. I can never say some of these things correctly. Okay, so we're going to get a real quick look at Mr. Young Jackson Gieger's Facebook page quickly here. Really not a whole lot different than his Instagram, and really not a lot of, posting going on here. And whether it's because he just doesn't post a lot, or, maybe he has another one that's more private because his dad is, quite a famous man. But these are, I'll just kind of flip through the pictures because there's just really not very many, which I find interesting. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when I was doing some research earlier in the year or last year, I believe he went to another country for a little while, and he was mentoring some of these young kids in this other country. And I think that's what these pictures are. And I've been through every one of them, and there's no comments on them. And, he's only got like 90 friends. And so I don't know if this is, his true page, but, that's all I can find for him for his Facebook page. So now we're going to have a look at, let me get rid of that. I'm doing good so far with my getting rid of pages after I'm done with them. Let's see. Now here's yesterday's headlines from Channel 4 in Oklahoma, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, okay, just wanted to check. Channel 4 in Oklahoma. 3 female plaintiffs file a lawsuit against Oklahoma County District Attorney candidate over alleged sex assault by a relative. Campaign calls it a political attack without merit. Of course. And who are we talking about? We're talking about Gayland Gieger's son, Jackson, who allegedly committed sexual assaults of at least 3 young women that we know of. So, I just think it's really interesting because anytime we talk about Gayland Gieger or the Henderson part, don't you all worry, we're talking about him too today. But I just think it's always really interesting that, they always seem to have Gayland Gieger with a picture from Daniel's trial. Now, normally I would say it really pisses me off when that happens, but it is what it is. That's just the way the media is. But whether or not this is going to affect Daniel's case at this point, no one can say. Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea. But I do believe that given some dates during these alleged crimes, and I'm going to show you guys the court documents here in a few minutes. I personally, my own thought, my own opinion, I don't know how it could not at least bring Daniel's case to the forefront. So the fact that they've got a picture of Gieger in front of Daniel's defense table in this particular article, in some psychological way, to me, is a good thing. But I don't know. Jack, Susan, what do you think? Agree, disagree?
Say that again.
Are you eating pizza? Okay,
yeah.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering that where normally when I see a picture of Gayland Gieger or Timothy Henderson, for whatever reason in the news, and they put it, the picture is of some part of Daniel's trial, it usually will really piss me off. But I feel like in this particular headline, I kind of feel like because of the headline and what it is, I kind of feel like it's like, so yeah, it's the man right there behind you that you lied to the jury about, and accused of all these nasty, horrible crimes that he didn't commit. And now you're the same guy who's got a kid who is allegedly guilty of the same types of crimes, but I'm going to say, in a sense, not that, well, I shouldn't say that it's worse, but his son's alleged victims were all young girls between the ages of 12 and 16. Gross and disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Particularly the 12-year-old. So to me, I kind of get a little, like, okay, how does this feel now? You're the freaking headline. Sitting in front of Daniel's defense table with these nasty allegations.
Get near him.
And he does play a role.
He plays the whole role. Yeah.
No, I'm talking.
Oh, you mean with the son?
With the son, yeah.
Yes, definitely he does. Yep, we'll talk about it. So this is just a headline. This is an article, and I've put it in the description below. You guys, I'm so excited. I'm so proud of myself. So I'm not going to go through all of it, but so you can read it whenever at your leisure. And they describe it as Gayland Gieger's relative, which I get it. At the time that the crimes were committed or the assaults were committed, his son was a juvenile. But the court documents say his name, so I had no problem saying his name either. I did get some advice from some other people that I work with for Daniel's team, but we kind of all agreed. So here it says, they refer to him as Gayland Gieger's relative. And it's so, but what they mean by relative is his son.
Was he a juvenile for all of these?
The
latest, I think the latest was 3 years ago, right?
Was in 2018. Yeah. And he's 20 years old now.
Okay.
So I think he was a juvenile during all of the assaults. which takes you into a whole. Susan and I almost touched on it a little while or earlier. It's either late last night or today, but which makes you think that, you know, for a teenage boy to be behaving that way, I don't know.
It's
This
learned
needs to,
behavior, perhaps.
yeah, and this
Yeah.
needs to be getting as much attention as the freaking Josh Duggar case. That's all I'm going to say about that. But you know, it's the same thing, same kind of idea is going to happen here that you're going to find out. So it says in part of the headline, Gieger's relative, meaning Jackson, is accused in the lawsuit of sexually abusing, assaulting, battering, grooming, harassing, and inappropriately touching the plaintiffs when they ranged in age from preteen to teenager. Now, naturally, Gieger's campaign manager says in response to the lawsuit, quote, the allegation in this lawsuit was found to be entirely without merit by 3 independent law enforcement agencies. This is a political attack by Gieger's opponents who can't compete with his 2-decade record, God, of fighting for sexual abuse victims. This lawsuit was filed by a disgraced politician who himself was criminally charged with maiming a woman and is further evidence of the political motive in this lawsuit. That I haven't even begun to try to, or end quote, and that's Evan Handy, the Gieger's campaign manager. But I haven't even looked into that because I've been too busy, you know, reading as much as I could about this. So anyway, you know, of course, the campaign managers have to do that. That's his job, right? So the article goes on to say the lawsuit claims Gayland Gieger's relative
That's
sexually.
ridiculous.
Isn't that ridiculous? I
To
could
say
not.
relative, it's his son,
His
for
freaking
God's sake.
son.
Oh,
And
brother.
it just, I don't know, it's kind of pissing me off, but it's whatever. They, you know, we got the name out there, so I'm doing my part. um, so it says the lawsuit claims that Gieger's kid sexually harassed, assaulted, battered, and inappropriately touched the first plaintiff in August of 2015. Daniel Holtzclaw went on trial November 2nd or 4th of 2015.
A couple months later.
Yeah. The second plaintiff was assaulted in November 2016, and the third plaintiff in August of 2018. So other victims exist to further demonstrate pattern grooming style, and sexual battery. The lawsuit states. Now, I have to admit that this petition was filed, I think, seemed to be pretty quickly for some reason, and I'm sure there will be a reason. We'll find out why later. But it was actually had to be amended today. There was an amendment sent, so that's the one I'll use because it's the most accurate. But so I don't know if that means that they are expecting other victims to come forward or not. I don't know. So we'll see. You know, we'll definitely find out, I'm sure, eventually. So that's just the first article that that I came across, and then there's another one. Look at this little happy-go-lucky guy here. His little bubble is probably burst by now, I'm sure. So let's see here. I don't think he looks quite this chipper today. But this was, I believe that this was taken a little, quite some time ago. But this one says that this headline says, again, by a family member, women file a lawsuit against DA candidate over alleged sexual assault by a family member. And I've already introduced all of you to Mr. Jackson Gieger, so you know who they're talking about. But it's pretty much the same article as before, and this one's also in the description. You can go back and look at that one later. I might have commented on this, and so I'm going to go and see.
So who all is named in the lawsuit? It's Gieger,
Gieger,
Jackson.
Gayland Gieger, Jackson Gieger. Yes, I did comment. Gayland Gieger, Jackson Gieger, and Gayland Gieger's wife, Shannon, who I just learned today is not Jackson's mother. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's been a lot of digging to try to figure out the. I didn't realize that Gayland Gieger had been married before and or procreated with somebody else besides his wife. So I think that I was given information that um, the two older children, which are uh, well, I don't know. I now it's really confusing. Galen's got three kids, but I don't. But Jackson isn't one of them. His or well, it's his, but it's not his wife's kid. Jackson has a different mother. Um, so Galen is currently married to a woman named Shannon, and he was married before to a woman named Joni, and who is Jackson's mother. And
Gayland Gieger marry Shannon? Do you know?
I I believe it was 2000. Oh gosh, I knew this today. I think they've only been married about 10 years. I want to say it was 2012 or 14, maybe. I don't know if one of my helpers in the chat knows or not. We've got some more people that have popped in that I just saw. I want to hurry and welcome you here. Dark Side, thank you for coming. And T1, very nice to have you here as well. And let's see. Sue Smith has said, shaking my head here. If you have money and or connections, you seem to be able to get away with anything. Oh, yeah, there's a whole lot more they've been getting away with stuff that I'll be showing you soon. So anyway, so yeah, I don't think they've been married more than about 10 or 12 years. If I should have written that down earlier and I didn't, but um, I do think that they have one child together. Um, there was a little bit in this. Let's see. So this is an article about from Calvin or Kevin Calvi, and he is another one of the a gentleman that is running for DA. And this was just in November. He I guess gave an interview or something, and it says the headline is Calvi slams Gieger and Prater over a grand jury filing. He says that he denounced his opponent, Gayland Gieger, and his boss, District Attorney David Prater, regarding a grand jury application filed against the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board. And that is talking about, like he mentions in this article, which is also in the description, he mentions, I believe he mentioned Richard Glossop, but he definitely talked about Julius Jones, and that's going back to when Prater was, going over crazy to, try to get the people on, three of the guys on the P and PB or whatever to recuse themselves, and he was having major little breakdowns because they wouldn't, and filed a lawsuit to try to get them to get the judge to get them removed and all kinds of stuff. So that's kind of what Calvi was talking about right there. So let me look at some comments here because I know I have some information. Let's see. Well, T1 says, was Rocky and Blinkwinkle involved at all in the investigations of these cases of sexual assault? I don't know, and I'll tell you why later. Why I don't know, and you'll understand why I don't know. I know that sounds really cryptic, but there's a lot of tea coming up, guys. So, um, uh, Kit the cat says their marriage license was issued on March 3/11. Woohoo! Yes, March 11th of 2016. So yeah, it was 2016. They haven't been married very long.
5 years, 5.5.
Yeah, so that I don't think they
That's
do
it.
have any children together. I think all the pictures that I have that I've been trolling everybody's Facebook pages for are must be, she's just playing mommy, um, to I to the to all the kids, or maybe she's brought her own. Maybe she's got her own kid to it. That's also possible. Yeah, 2 months. Oh, isn't that about a bitch? He had the nerve to get married 2 months after Daniel was sentenced. Pig.
He was celebrating.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I think they went to Hawaii. If that just doesn't make it even worse, jerk. So yeah, there's some information about um, what's this ugly mug, Gayland Gieger. So what I'll do now is I'll share the. Let's see. This is where I start getting a little more confused because I have to use a different window. I'm going to share now the document, the petition, to. Let me find the right window. Sorry.
This was just filed yesterday, right?
Yes, this was just filed yesterday. Um, can you guys see that? I'll just go back and forth, I guess. Okay, you can see it.
Not yet.
Oh, you can't?
You see it, Jack? Oh, here it comes. There it
Oh,
is.
okay. Oh, you're looking
Yeah,
on YouTube.
yeah,
Watching
yeah,
on
it,
YouTube.
yeah. It popped in.
Okay, good, good. All right. So I'll go through this, and this is the amended one that we got today, and there was some language that was very confusing in the second paragraph of the second cause. Now, this was something else we discussed yesterday, the team and I, about I didn't know if I should redact names of the victims or not, but because this is a public record, um, the only place the names aren't being said is in the media, but it is public record, and so um, my teammates informed me that you know that it would be okay, and I guess they're right. Honestly. And everybody, I believe, well, maybe not. Hopefully, they're all adults. I don't know the ages of them now, but basically, it says, and so it's got the names of the three plaintiffs up here. And if you want to see them badly enough, you can go and get the document yourself and read the names. But so this is a petition for Gayland Gieger, Jackson Gieger, and Shannon Gieger. So Jackson's stepmother. Come now, the plaintiffs, and each of them allege and state. Sure. Oh my God, who's on my panel? Jack and Susan. Do you guys have the document opened, or do you not have your document opened on it? I mean, if you don't, it's
Uh,
fine.
no,
I don't
I
have
see
the.
it on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't have the amended one anyway.
Oh,
The
okay.
one from
Yeah,
Yeah, me
that's
either.
true. That's true. Okay. I was going to have you guys read as well, um, but it's
I
all
can read
good.
it from
Can you
YouTube.
read it?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you
Yeah, I
want to?
can read. I
Oh,
can read it too.
all
Yeah.
right. I'll let you guys. So, I, let's see. Susan, if you want to take the first page, and then Jack, you can take the second page, or does that sound
Sure.
fine? All right. Just let me
Okay.
know
I'll
when
be
you're
done.
full.
I'll be finished stuffing my face with pizza by then anyway.
Pizza with pineapple on it.
No, bad Rhonda. Really bad Rhonda. You're in timeout.
Oh, sweet. I'll take my time out while you guys are reading. Okay,
You
whenever you're
ready?
ready, Susan. Yep.
Okay. First cause of action. Number one, that the conduct, incidents, and events described herein occurred in Oklahoma County, Oklahoma. This court has jurisdiction over the parties and subject matter. Number two, the defendant, Jackson Gieger, over a period of years to be described hereinafter, committed sexual abuse, assault, battery, grooming, sexual harassment, and inappropriate touching of plaintiffs, and each of them when plaintiffs ranged from age 12 to 16. That his conduct was in violation of the statutes of the state of Oklahoma, including 12 OS 95, 96, and state common law. That by reason of said defendant's conduct, each of the plaintiffs has and will suffer injury and damages as will be more specifically set forth. That defendant, Jackson Gieger, committed sexual harassment, contact, assault, battery, and inappropriate touching of plaintiff Nicole Henderson in August 2018 on more than one occasion at the home of Sean Gieger. After it was revealed to defendant Gayland Gieger's brother, Sean Gieger, by plaintiff Anderson's mother that unwelcome sexual contact had occurred. Defendant Jackson Gieger committed the same conduct against the plaintiff Riley Smith multiple times in November of 2016. Defendant Jackson Gieger committed the same sexual battery and predatory conduct against Lydia Kiefer in August of 2015. The same or similar type of sexual abuse incidents and sexual exploitation by the defendant, Jackson Gieger, was the same and similar to all plaintiffs herein. Other victims exist to further demonstrate pattern, grooming style, and sexual battery. Defendant Jackson Gieger.
3. Further, that the inappropriate conduct of the defendant, Jackson Gieger, occurred while the defendant was a minor and under the supervision of his father, defendant Gayland Gieger, and uncle, defendant Sean Gieger, as pertains to plaintiff Nicole Anderson. He was a minor under the supervision of his parents, defendants Gayland Gieger and Shannon Gieger, as pertains to the plaintiff Riley Smith in their home. Further, the defendant Gayland Gieger was negligent in the supervision and the pattern of practice of not curbing, training, or restricting defendant Jackson Gieger's appetite for sexual battery and assault activity with proper supervision and control after being placed on notice over the years by parents of the victims, thus failing to protect later victims such as plaintiff Anderson. 4. That by reason of the inappropriate conduct of the defendants, and each of them, plaintiffs, have suffered injuries and damages emotionally, mentally, and have required treatment that will continue to require medical and psychological treatment in the future for an undetermined amount of time. That the injuries sustained by the plaintiffs herein are permanent and progressive in nature and will cause the plaintiffs to suffer not only pain and anxiety, but emotional harm and disability in the future. 5. That by the reason of said injuries and medical expenses, plaintiffs and each of them have been damaged in the sum in excess of $75,000. Second cause of action. Come now, the plaintiffs in each of them, and for their second cause of action against defendants in each of them, allege and state. 6. Plaintiffs allege and adopt if fully set out herein and all the material allegations contained herein to the first cause of action to this petition. 7. That the conduct and acts of the defendants herein were so gross, wanton, derelict, and intentional that the members of the public and society should be protected from the same or similar conduct by defendants in the future. In an effort to prohibit such future conduct for the safety of young girls and women in the future, said defendants should suffer punitive damages. For further relief, it is requested that the defendant, Jackson Gieger, be required to register on the Sex Offenders Registry under the laws of the state of Oklahoma.
All right, I'll read the last page. It's just the final judgment. Wherefore, plaintiffs and each of them pray for judgment against the defendants, and each of them for a judgment for punitive damages in excess of $75,000 and registration as a sex offender of defendant Jackson Gieger. Plaintiffs and each of them pray for judgment on both causes of action herein against the defendants, and each of them for a judgment in excess of $75,000, court costs, and such other relief as may be just and proper. Big boom, right? Cherie has joined us. Hello, Cherie.
Hey, Cherie.
Hi there.
And
Finally
and,
made it.
and my words to that document. Ew.
Ew.
Doc.
Yeah, nasty, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's gross. Gross. Yeah. So yeah, that's excuse me. That's the case for Gayland. That's kind of what's going on now with Gayland, who is a candidate for Oklahoma County DA.
Are you gonna read that letter? You gonna read that letter?
Oh, I'm reading the letter. Hold on, Jack. Hold on.
Okay, sorry. I'm getting my horses in front of my out front here.
You are. I'm really. Cherie will tell you I am horrible, and Kay would tell you also that I am horrible at doing outlines for my podcasts. Cherie would always go to great length to really, really do a great outline for me, and I just could never. I don't know. I just can't follow the outlines, and it's
sound like you need a shot collar, and she needed the little control button, and when you got off track,
yeah, she does. Yeah, she does.
Can I just say something, Rhonda?
Please do.
I think the fact that his campaign manager is denying all of this, and the fact that it involves such young children. I mean, I know they're, older now. Let's see, 6 years, 7 years older, but they're still young.
Right.
And the fact that it's involving them, I don't think that is a political move.
For what? You mean
this whole filing?
I agree.
Saying that it's just,
Oh no.
They're too young. If these were older women,
yeah,
that maybe
had
been bought off or whatever, the accusation would carry far less impact. I guess that's the best word I can use.
Yeah,
or believability, maybe.
That too. Yep, that too.
Credibility, yeah, all that.
Credibility, yeah.
Well, beyond everything else, you got to think about how this filing emotionally affects these three young women.
Right.
They
are still very young.
Absolutely, they are, and knowing that their name is going to be listed in these court documents, I mean, that's a big freaking deal.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree, and thank you for bringing that up, because I think those are very valid points, which I, like you, believe would render it not having to do with politics for sure.
From a legal standpoint, what do you think, Cherie? I mean, just based on what Susan and I were just talking about.
What do you mean? What will happen?
Because of the age of these young women, because they were at the believability versus this being a political stunt to knock him out of the race, whatever, damage his chances of winning.
I think it would be stronger with the younger ones. Yeah. Definitely. It's more disgusting for sure.
Yeah, definitely more disgusting.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Yeah, it is. It's gross.
Well, you got to wonder what's going on under that roof, and why would he even entertain the thought that he could do that and get away with it?
Well, I think once we get to that letter, you're just like
Oh yeah, that's right, the letter.
Let's not forget that Gayland has known about this since 15. This is not news to him.
No. That's right.
I mean, it was brought to his attention. I don't know why something wasn't done earlier, but
I don't think mothers that would let, their children would, would be putting their children out there if they didn't, really believe it was true, especially the younger they are, because that's a lot to put some child through, even a young teenager.
T1, I believe the letter will. I believe the letter I'm going to read shortly will help you with this answer. He said, so we don't believe this was released for political gain, yet all these years everything was hush hush.
It's eye-opening, T1. Eye-opening.
Yeah. I think, yeah. You'd be crazy to leave this podcast right now. That's all I'm going to say. Now, I'm not, because Jack is so like really anxious right now. I'm not gonna go into all of this detail, even though it is really, really important to what's coming up in this letter. But these articles also are in the description. Be able to, go at the facts and the details. But gosh, in 2000, let me see. Let me get this screen up here for you.
I just want to say to what T1 commented, maybe they waited for these kids to grow up a little bit.
Yeah. Yep. Makes a lot of sense. I hadn't thought about that, but that does make a lot of sense.
And maybe they were waiting to see if there would be any kind of actions or something taken towards Jackson, and nothing happened. So they're like, "Oh, what? You know what? Something is going to happen."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Could be. Yeah. Those are very valid possibilities. So now I also talked about this last week in the David Prater podcast. And let me just tell you guys, it's so strange to me that I had this big podcast last week about David Prater, and now all of this is blowing up. And so I kind of feel like, oh, good. This is just kind of like part 2 of David Prater, because it's so much of it is about him. But I mentioned this case when I talked about David Prater last week, and this is called a whistleblower claim. Let's see, I just need to make sure I have it's up there. I have so little confidence. So this is about what I was talking about last week when William Mueller had been asked he was an investigator in Prater's office. And so he had been directed by Prater to do some investigating, or not even investigating, but like even deeper.
Dig up some dirt.
Yeah, I wanted some dirt, and he wanted to bring a grand jury indictment on Chris Steele, who was he was a criminal justice reform. He was the criminal. Well, let's see here exactly what it says, so I don't completely mess it up. Sorry, Jack. Attorney General Mike Hunter. That's another part that'll come later. Let's see. David Prater had fired investigator William Mueller because he raised the possibility of other district attorneys discussing investigations of former House Speaker Chris Steele and his group, Oklahomans for Criminal Justice Reform. God, what state needs criminal justice reform? Not Oklahoma. Can you see where that would be like a huge thing? Because David Prater was against criminal justice reform.
Why? Of course he is. Of course he is.
And so he was he told Mueller, go get some dirt on Chris Steele and his group. And, because I want to convene a grand jury and get him, kicked off. And so anyway, that's a whole story. So consequently, because Mueller has a conscience and a morality and a moral compass and a sense of doing right and wrong, he reported back to David Prater that, oh my God. I need, so Cherie, T1, anybody in my chat who is a mod, I need all of that stuff that you see, that last comment by Lorena Short. I need you to delete that and report anything like that for me, please. Those are porn. Why are you little bastards? Get out of my freaking chat, assholes. Sorry. Anyway, thank you, Cherie. So consequently, Mueller was fired with no real reason given to him. And in these other articles that you can read about it, you'll be able to find all the details about what was done to Mueller and how horrible.
And I think the reason he was fired because he came back and he said there is no dirt.
There's no dirt.
These people are clean, and he just got pissed off.
Yes, he did. He got angry.
Well, he's trying to go after this Chris Steele, and Chris Steele hadn't done a damn thing wrong.
No,
That's
and he knew it.
Yeah, exactly. And so now, I think I mentioned this also last week, or I tried to mention it, but Mueller has a great resume. He was a former Oklahoma County DA office investigator. He had spent time on both, I believe, on President George W. Bush's security detail.
He was a cop for a little while too, wasn't he?
Yes. Yep. And he alleges that DA Prater demanded he obtain a multi-county grand jury subpoena for the financial records of the Oklahomans Criminal Justice Reform Group, a nonprofit advocacy organization. And so that was also going to be going. He was also trying to get information on the American Civil Liberties Union as well.
Yep.
For which he had absolutely nothing against.
No probable cause. There was no probable cause. Yep. Prater says that he had all that he does. Prater doesn't believe he needs it. He believes he's above the law and that he doesn't have to provide that. So
of course he does.
Yeah. So, he's special in that way, of course. He's special in many ways. So again, that one's in the description. So I'm going to let you read that one on your time, but it's definitely worth reading, you guys. It's going to give you some really surprising information about.
Now, did you find out what's going on? Is there a Mueller's lawsuit? Is that current or?
I was trying to find that out today, and I can't even find it in the.
Because that all came out in 2019.
2019. And basically Mueller said, and somebody else might on my team might be able to help me answer this. But Mueller had said in his suit, that he wanted to be paid $125,000 and settle it basically. But but if you choose to take this to court, then I'm gonna ask $125,000 plus punitive damages. So I don't know for sure if it was settled in or out, if it was settled out of court or not. I don't know why, but I wasn't able to figure it out.
Okay.
Cherie, do you have any idea?
No, I don't remember hearing anything about it after, after he went back after him for having an affair or something. Prater, I mean.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Cherie. This is the same guy that I was telling you guys about last week that Prater claims was having a inappropriate sexual extramarital affair, and that was just unethical and it violated the laws of ethics and blah blah blah.
So he dug the dirt up on Mueller. That's his game.
Yeah, but from what I understood, there was never. It wasn't even true. He hadn't had an extramarital affair.
Wow.
Mueller was a very stand-up guy. from
Wow.
all accounts, from everything I've read. So um, so there's a couple of articles again that I put in the what's it called, description. Now I don't know why, but I'm really partial to articles by non-doc. Um, and so whenever I can find an article from non-doc that you know it fits with what I'm researching, I get excited about it because they're really good articles and they seem to be very um, non-biased. You know, they just tell it like it is. You know, it is what it is. Here's the news. Here's the facts, and you know, no matter which side of the aisle, because everything always turns to politics. You know, they just tell it like it is. But in this year, I'm just going to make sure I'm looking at this right one really quickly here. If you guys want to talk about another thing while I'm checking really quick. um,
I was kind of remembering on that lawsuit with Mueller, and I read all of that last night, and there was so much info that I might not have it correct, but I kind of remember that it kind of got dismissed because it, whoever the judge or whoever said that it just didn't hold any water or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
it
I
was
could be wrong.
probably Ray Elliott, but I also know that Attorney General Mike Hunter is involved in it, and so ergo, you know, he's Mike Hunter. In case anybody has forgotten, is the former Attorney General of Oklahoma who resigned earlier this year, shortly after Timothy Henderson scandal came out, and the main reason was how bad do your secrets have to be if you are resigning from your office and saying, you know, admitting to a sexual extramarital sexual affair with somebody in order to hide your dirty deeds that you've been doing in the government. How bad do your secrets have to be? So
He
that's
wanted he wanted to spend more time with his family.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
exactly. So yeah, that's how bad Hunter was. That's how bad Hunter was, and I'm not so sure that Oklahoma got any better of a deal with John O'Connor, but that's a whole other thing too. So yeah, so again, I'm not this non-doc article. I don't know if I even shared it at all with you guys. Just in case, I'll show it to you so you can know what it looks like. But I believe if it's not in the description already, I will put it in there tonight because I really recommend this one as well. Um, so this one is and I believe that it's one that I knew about, but for somehow I had forgotten. This is brand new. This is just this year that this occurred. But somebody I've been talking to through Messenger on Facebook um, reminded me of this and linked this to me just before we came live. And this one is about the judge denies motion to disqualify Prater from manslaughter case after tampering allegation. And I had known about this before, but I had, you know, there's so much corruption that we're undigging. Is that the right word? Unburying?
No, undigging. No,
Un,
that is not
no,
correct.
unpacking,
Uncovering.
uncovering. Thank you. I knew that wasn't right, but I was all I could come up with. Undigging. Kind of like the Pentagon, you know? I don't know. Um,
Hush.
anyway, so I had forgotten about it, and and this one's also very convoluted and it's pretty complex as well, which is why I'm not going to go over it because I really want to satisfy
Isn't
Jock's anxiety and get to that letter.
isn't he kind of in bed with Elliot, or was that Henderson? Uh,
Yes and yes.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're all together, and that'll come together. I think they talk. I think that this letter talks about that.
And maybe even literally, for all we know.
Yeah, who knows? Kitty, nothing surprises me anymore. So hey, just let your imagination run wild. It's okay. um, But defense lawyers claimed in this particular case, Oklahoma County District Judge Ray Elliott denied a motion Monday to disqualify David Prater and his assistants from prosecuting a woman charged with manslaughter. Defense lawyers claimed that Prater attempted to intimidate a YWCA official to prevent an employee from testifying for defense in the first degree manslaughter case of Trishelle Yvonne Jones. And I don't know if I said that first name right or not, and I apologize.
Sounds good.
Okay. Jones's attorneys claimed their client was dealing with the effects of battered women syndrome when she shot and killed her boyfriend, Quaylan Jeffers, in January of 2019. Prosecutors had argued in an earlier hearing that Angela Beatty, the chief officer of the YWCA's Domestic Violence Victims Program, who often does testify for prosecutors in other cases, is not a psychiatrist or a psychologist and is unqualified to diagnose syndrome, psychological, and experiences abuse, usually at the hands of an intimate partner. Okay, so that I'm going to just tease you with that because you're going to get some information about Prater in this article as well. About I don't know if I can actually put that in the chat or not. I'll try. Let's see if this will link. Oh, yeah, it did. So in case I don't get it in the description, because I might forget. Okay, I'm just kind of going through and seeing the chat now. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. But this is that non-doc article that I have up on the screen right now. So I really encourage you to go read that. Let me go through some of these questions here really quick, or comments, before I'm missing good stuff. So, and I'm missing people who have joined us.
TT and Fangirl.
Yeah, TT and Fangirl, hi. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for coming. Kit the Cat says that she thought Mueller dropped the lawsuit after Prater said he was fired for having an affair. And so that could be, maybe the affair was all true. I don't know, but I think you're right. Now that you say it to me that way, that makes sense that that's what happened. So maybe Mueller was having an affair. Who the hell knows anymore? I don't even know. There's just too much to try to remember about these cases. So now, Jack, would you like to do a drum roll? Okay, that's enough. Let's see. Now, this is a lengthy letter, but I'm trying to look here and see. Well, actually, it's only 2 pages, so I'm going to go ahead and...
But it's got so much in it.
It's packed. Yeah, it's a 65-page document that we got yesterday late, or that I got late, that even just the 2 pages of the letter itself are just going to blow your mind. I'm pretty sure, I'm certain of it. So I'm going to go ahead because it's absolutely necessary to do so. I'm going to go ahead and read this entire 2-page letter. Susan or Jack or Cherie, do any of you want to help me? Like,
if you want help, then we're glad to do it.
Let's like read 2 paragraphs at a time, each. Does that sound okay? We'll start with
sure.
We'll start with Susan, Jack, Cherie, then me. How's that sound?
Can you blow it up a little bit?
Yep. Oh, blow it up? Yes.
Blow you up.
Is that enough?
You're gonna get
that's too much. Yeah, there you go. That's
okay.
fine.
Okay.
You're gonna get blowed up. I'm kidding.
Okay. Let's see. We want to make sure we're at the top. This, you guys, if you don't listen to any other part of this podcast, you don't want to miss this. I promise.
Okay, so this is from Representative Justin Humphrey. The House of Reps, State of Oklahoma, November 2nd, 2021, to Governor Kevin Stitt regarding Oklahoma County Court corruption. Dear Governor J. Kevin Stitt, I have completed a preliminary inquiry into allegations of corruption in the Oklahoma County court system. I want to remind you, victims of judicial and prosecutorial misconduct contacted your office in 2019. After proof of sexual misconduct by Judge Henderson surfaced, you issued a written directive dated April 1st, 2021 to the OSBI requesting an investigation into court misconduct by Judge Henderson. I believe it is crucial to provide you a tape made by one of the victims that certainly seems to verify the Attorney General's office and OSBI ignored or undermined your request for this investigation. 2 paragraphs or 1?
Oh,
Two.
two's good. Yeah, 2.
Okay. I believe it is equally important to provide a letter from whistleblower William Mueller, decorated former Secret Service agent and former employee of Oklahoma County District Attorney David Prater. This letter, listed as example 3, I guess, identifies concerning practices by DA David Prater, such as illegal criminal investigations based on Prater's personal vendettas, abuse of multi-county grand jury, lack of integrity, daytime consumption of alcohol, attendance of strip clubs, resulting in several high-level persons in Prater's office being arrested, a compromised evidence DNA locker that should not be in Prater's control and is a remnant of former corrupt administration involving Joyce Gilchrist, inappropriate coordinated activity with the AG's office to issue subpoenas, and Prater refusing to address corruption confirmed to him by Mueller. It appears no one has investigated his concerns.
I want to point out now, paragraph 1, sex tape. Got that, T1? There is a sex tape involved here. Okay, I'm moving on. Paragraph 3. I'm providing 2 additional letters of attorneys who have expressed serious concerns of judicial misconduct in the Oklahoma court system. Exhibit 4 is a letter addressed to D.A. Prater from Noel Tucker Law Firm outlining allegations of wrongdoing. Exhibit 5 is a letter from attorney Mark Miles providing more reports of proof of mishandling court cases. 3 separate highly professional officers of the court alleging similar patterns of abuse would necessitate a more thorough investigation. This disturbing bad behavior, combined with these same court officials directing their personal investigations, hearings, and sentences, is particularly disturbing. I have included Exhibit 6, 6A, and 6B to verify these officials appear to be collaborating in investigations, grand juries, and in court hearings to control the outcomes of cases and use their offices to manipulate, bully, and destroy anyone who opposes them. Obviously, officials should recuse from cases which they have personal involvement. I am submitting a letter, Exhibit 7, from Teresa Anderson, who met with your office earlier this year. She advised that Prater and Henderson moved the investigation of Assistant DA Gayland Gieger's son, who alleged raped her daughter from Oklahoma County to Cleveland County. It seems inconceivable and reprehensible that evidence in the Assistant DA's son's case would be lost in the transfer. However, she states the DA's office lost her daughter's forensic interview. Exhibit 7A are emails confirming Prater himself was responsible for moving the venue and influencing the course of the botched rape investigation. Exhibit 7B is from another reported victim who indicates that after she to expose corruption in Henderson's sexual actions, Henderson changed court documents, inserted himself in her foreclosure case, and retaliated against her. Exhibit 7C is a letter from Alberta Jones, the mother of an autistic autistic adult son, who was charged for sexual assault while being held in a psychiatric hospital. She reports her son was wrongfully prosecuted because he was being held in a psychiatric ward and therefore was clearly incompetent. Her son was held in the Oklahoma jail and was beaten repeatedly due to his autistic condition. Mrs. Jones reported making multiple complaints to the bar and the official judicial complaints with no action taken. Holy shit, all that packed in there. My God, I'm sorry.
I know. I know. It's crazy. It's insane. I remember reading that story too when I was trying to do some deep diving. I read the story about the autistic young man, and it was really, really graphic and sad, very, very sad. Okay, Cherie, would you like to read this paragraph and the next one, or this one alone, or none at all, or what would you like to do?
Possibly the most disturbing and convincing evidence of judicial and prosecutorial misconduct has been in the case of Alex Bednar. I'm providing a copy of a service made by the DA's office on Mr. Bednar. Please notice the date. This document is file stamped 3/27/19, Exhibit 8. This document was used to notify Bednar of a change in his court dates. I must note it seems extremely odd for the DAs to file service in their own civil case against Mr. Bednar, and Bednar claims he was never served. I feel it's important to add Bednar was immediately arrested for failure to appear, which is rare in these kinds of cases. Subsequently, he received a much more serious charge for resisting arrest. The DA's office sent documents of Bednar's service and arrest to a federal judge in what appears to be an effort to discredit him. Amazingly, upon examination of the court file, the document of service was not present. How did this document obtain a file stamp but was never placed in the file? How did the DA obtain a copy of a filed stamped document not in the file to send to the federal judge? But even more alarming, how did a judge issue an order of arrest if there was no document to prove Bednar was notified of the court date being changed? Unbelievably, this same document was dreadfully altered, with one date being X'd out and a new date being refiled, stamped for a date of 5/2/19. Undeniably, this verifies tampering with court records, DAs sending false records to a federal judge, and false arrest, which appears to be a gross violation of Bednar's civil rights. Exhibit 8B. Is the return on the arrest of Bednar? Please note the date is much later. The notary is incomplete and unsigned, and the document is not signed by the arresting officer. Exhibit 8C reveals 2 copies of the arrest warrant dated much later than the arrest. One warrant shows clerk stamp and the other has a court file stamp. The one without the file stamp was used by Bednar's ex-wife in their divorce. How did Bednar's ex-wife receive a court document before it was filed stamped? I have what appears to be appalling evidence of judicial and prosecutorial misbehavior. However, it is too massive to include in this report.
Too massive to include in this report. Too massive. I can't even imagine.
Evidence of judicial and prosecutorial misbehavior.
Yeah, isn't that
Too
crazy?
massive.
Too massive. All right, I will.
It's fabulous.
It's fabulous, but it's just shocking. Well, it is shocking, but at the same time, I think that all of us who have really, really been digging deeply into, we kind of do with Daniel's case, like we do with Stephen and Brendan's case. we have all of the surface information, that's pretty well just like, we just kind of have all the surface information that everybody has, and you form an opinion based on that information one way or another of how you feel about the information, or and how it affects the accused, right? And so I think we do the same thing with Daniel's case. Some of us that are working with with Kay and stuff like that, we do a little bit deeper digging, and so we don't look at just the surface players. We are digging at stuff that leads us down rabbit holes, and then if we can figure out how to connect the dots, then we do. But this is what we've been doing for almost the last year. We've been going down these deep rabbit holes and touching. I think I had mentioned to Kay earlier, it's like I feel like we've been touching all of this stuff, like touching it and reading it and thinking, okay, this sounds really damning, but how do we connect it all together? And now we don't have to, because it's been done for us.
Just thinking on what you just said there, and of course I'm not as involved in Daniel's case. I mean, I've read a lot. I introduced you to it long ago because I saw something that was like so sketchy. But that leads me to my next point, and I'll shut up and you can finish the letter. I think that anyone that really watched Daniel in the Den and observed the actions of Blinkwinkle and Rocky, but the Gayland Gieger and the stuff that he said at trial, knowing that he flat lied in his closing about the DNA coming from vaginal cells, and it was never vaginal fluid, and it was never, that was evidence never introduced at trial. But then he imparts that to the jury to get a conviction. I think that shows I know a lot of prosecutors, they just want to win, but to lie like that was huge to me. And I'll say it before and I'll say it again. I don't know how that defense attorney's hair wasn't on fire. Mine would have been. I would have stood. Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm pretty sure he did it in his rebuttal closing, so that
so no one could say anything.
Yep,
exactly.
Which is even worse in many ways. But I still would have, even if the judge would have yelled at me, I would have jumped up and said, "Hey, he's talking about evidence not introduced at trial. Judge, you need to correct this now."
Yeah.
So anyway, I think we all see the really shocking behavior exposed for who these people really are, and I have no doubt, just from what we know of Ken Kratz and some of his behaviors outside of the courtroom and the shit that guy did, right down the same alley.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, easily. Yep. They were cut from the same cloth for sure. Definitely for sure. I'll read these last few, this last couple of paragraphs really quickly. So to finish, he says, I have been in law. He says, I have been a law enforcement officer for approximately 30 years, and I am deeply concerned by what my brief inquiry has revealed. Definitely, I have provided you with adequate documentation of apparent corruption in the Oklahoma County court system. I'm going to read that one again. I have provided you with adequate documentation of apparent corruption in the Oklahoma County court system. I've been saying this ever since I have had this channel. There's something not right, and we just couldn't make it fit together. It seems prudent an investigation should be conducted by an independent source. Based on my findings, the state of Oklahoma clearly may be liable to certain victims of court misconduct. And that is my favorite line right there.
Yep.
And then his recommendation, I recommend a meeting with Attorney General O'Connor to determine a proper course of action, such as convene a grand jury, appoint a legislative committee, or hire an independent investigator to complete an appropriate examination into judicial and prosecutorial misconduct in the Oklahoma court system. I will be happy to volunteer and offer my service in any manner.
If
Can you
even one
tell
of
me
those things is true, if even one of those things is true that we read throughout, each one of us has read throughout this letter.
Yeah.
God, I mean, I don't know how the court's supposed to run in our different United States in the country, but to me, all that charges should be brought.
What's the
Shut up,
date
man.
on this again, Rhonda?
Yesterday.
The date of this letter?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Look at the.
I'm
Look at the
Well, no,
I'm
it
like
was. I'm sorry.
November 2nd, 2021.
Yeah, I'm lying.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just got it yesterday, I guess is what I just got it yesterday is what I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you blew me and Susan away with it last night. Thanks.
Well,
So
my
nothing-
God, you guys
nothing's-
don't, like I was jumping, like I couldn't, I was like my little sticker that I sent to you guys. I was just like bouncing. I couldn't hardly contain myself.
Yeah, you couldn't. And when you were talking, and we both grabbed it and was reading through it. And the more I read, the worse it got. I was like, holy shit, where are we going to be by the page 60? I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, these people are clearly, to me, they're just criminal. They're just criminal.
Yeah.
So this was to Stitt, right?
Yes.
Yep.
And what has he done about it?
Well, nothing to my knowledge.
Well, there's actually been action. Well, you can get into that more about this later, but there was action taken by an OSBI agent, right?
Well, as far as Henderson is concerned, yes. But this isn't just about Henderson. This is about the entire
court system.
The entire court system in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You're saying Kit the cat is saying no, and I'm not sure no to what.
Nothing's been done? Is that?
Oh, I think nothing's been done. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nothing's been done. Okay. And T1 says, so the next big question is, how does this positively affect Daniel's false conviction being overturned? Well, again, I just in my own mind, which we all know is not normal most of the time, just in my own logic, let me just put it that way. My own logic tells me that particularly where Gayland Gieger's son is concerned, Gayland Gieger knows that his son, right. Yeah, no, it wasn't today. I just got it yesterday is all. Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that for me, you guys. The first sexual assault by Jackson Gieger that has been reported was taking place in August of 2015. And that's when Daniel went on trial 2 months later. Gayland Gieger already was made aware of his son's activity or perverseness or whatever you want to call it. He was already made aware of it by then, according to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so even if he wasn't made aware of it at that point, sometime very soon in that time, he had to have been made aware of it.
Absolutely.
While he was prosecuting Daniel.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's going to have any effect, just like I don't know that Henderson, having ex parte hearings while he was having his sexual assault sagas is going to have any effect on Daniel's case. I don't know either one of those things, but most particularly, I don't know how Gieger prosecuting a man for sexual assaults and rape in court and having his own son doing the same things to a 12-year-old. I don't know how that can be considered a fair trial. I'm just
going to throw this in too. And again, this is speculatory. This is theory, opinion, whatever it's just kind of taking a leap here. And I'm not expecting anyone else to take the leap with me. I'm just going to say that just reading what we've read so far out loud. I mean, I've read more, but and understanding that we're still not getting the entire story. There could be more that could have a detrimental effect of what on Gieger during his time prosecuting Daniel, and even other cases as well that could have a dramatic, if not immediate, impact. Right?
Right. That's what I think.
Has this letter made it to the press?
Well, I don't know if the press is. I mean, I've been trying to send it to them. Whether they're paying attention to it or not,
I doubt that there's very many publications in Oklahoma that would touch it because of their. I mean, clearly, you read some articles and they're calling his kid a relative. It's his fucking kid. Come on.
Yeah, the media in Oklahoma, particularly the Oklahoman news media, are very, very pro
biased.
Lie.
They're very biased. Oh my God, it's horrible.
And how is this letter found, or where does it come from?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know how I got it. But I don't know how.
It has to be filed in some kind of legal sense. I'm sure it's part of the record somewhere. I'd bet on it.
Well, it's just a letter to the governor. I mean,
I don't know if it was.
Kay says the press has had it for a while, and they don't want a chance pissing off the next DA.
See, there you go. That's what I'm saying. This chicken shit outfit's not willing to stand up and do the right thing.
Yeah, which I mean, if you think about it, they want to replace Prater with Gieger, and so they can't risk. I mean, the news is out about Gieger now. I mean, as far as his son and charges being filed against Gieger, of course, but they don't want to. They're trying not to be responsible for putting out all the rest of this dirt. That involves Prater and ultimately involves Gieger and Henderson. And Mike Hunter, even though he's no longer in office. T1, this will have ripple effects for sure, but will that ripple reach Daniel? I don't know. I can only hope so. I understand that the information's been turned over, or I hope, I guess is what I should have said. I hope that the information has been turned over to Daniel's camp. Has anyone spoke to Daniel's camp on this news? I would imagine so. I don't know for sure.
Surely.
Let's see. Yeah. We've got Kit the cat says the press has had it for a while and they don't want to change pissing. They don't want a chance pissing off the next DA. Exactly. So yeah, it's all just so the mainstream media is just
that disgusts me.
It disgusts me too because they had no problem trying and convicting and sentencing Daniel in the media when Daniel was going through all of the shit they were putting him through. They just.
Well, they were pro-prosecutor.
Yeah, and now they're just like, what? Huh? What letter? We don't know what you're talking about. So, Daniel's camp is all over it. I kind of figured that, but I don't want to overstep my bounds. But there's no, they're not missing a beat on any of this, I'm sure, because this has to have at least, probable cause to, if nothing else, give Daniel a fair trial, if not overturn it altogether with prejudice.
I don't know how they can trust anything that these people have done. It's
the judge, the prosecutor. Right. I mean, come on.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
And to go to the lengths of Prater and Henderson and Gieger moving Giger's son's case to another county
Yep.
is just, and
And then
that's,
losing evidence
yeah, well,
in the
air quotes.
transfer. Is
Yeah,
that
we're,
not what it said?
yes, losing the files and the investigation files. Yeah. I don't believe they've lost anything. Anything that they've had has probably just been shredded, I'm sure. They don't lose anything. They know damn good and well what they've got their hands on, and you know, and so um, TTM fangirl. I've been saying that for a couple of years now. TTM fangirl says, "Note to self: stay away from Wisconsin and Oklahoma." Check. We agree. I know, because we know how bad. We all know how horrible Wisconsin is. But I'm telling you guys, whenever I say something like, resembling that Oklahoma is just as bad or worse, I know everybody's like, no, no, there's no way. But I'm telling you guys, and I feel sorry for my friends who live in Oklahoma.
I now
really
live
do.
like 1 mile from Oklahoma border.
Just do not go into Oklahoma City. That's all I can recommend and advise, because it's horrible. And you guys, I know I felt so validated when I read that letter, and I think it was Susan was reading this part when this person, I can't remember who it was, I wrote the letter, when he mentioned that it was reminiscent of an older time under Joyce Gilchrist. I was
Yeah.
like, yes,
Yeah.
because I know that those of you who don't know as much about the case, Daniel's case, as I do, or as we do, every time I talk about Bob Macy and Joyce Gilchrist, I know it must get kind of frustrating, because you might be wondering, well, but to me, it's the same as us talking about the 1985 case in Wisconsin when we talk about Stephen's current case. To me, it's kind of the same thing, even though. But something else I learned that I did not know, and I don't remember where I read this last night. Henderson also worked under Bob Macy as a district attorney. Did you guys know that? Cherie, did you know that?
No, I didn't. I knew Prater did, but I didn't know about
Yeah,
Henderson.
I knew Prater
No.
did, but I did not know about Henderson. And I don't know if Kay knew that either or not. I'll have to ask her. But I was like, so to me, I really, and Cherie and I were going to do this yesterday, but obviously I didn't have one. Yes, I have a podcast yesterday, and thank goodness now I know why. I thought it was all these other reasons, but now I know why we didn't do one yesterday, because there was going to be this big, massive news hit us last night. That anyway, so that's why Cherie and I were going to do a podcast about Bob Macy. We've already done one about Joyce Gilchrist, that you can go back and listen to. I think it's from October of last year. You can go back and listen to that one. But I just said, you know what, we really need to do a show about Bob Macy, because we keep talking about Bob Macy, but there's a reason for it. Bob Macy and Joyce Gilchrist are just as important to what we're talking about now, in a sense, as Kosirik and that whole bunch of clowns in Wisconsin in the 85 case are relevant to Stephen's current case. So, we talked about doing a Bob Macy podcast for yesterday, and it just didn't work out. But anyway, so we're going to do it. I'm going to have to do it, because you really need to know these guys didn't just, grow up and become prosecutors and, whatever, judges and stuff, and just be, assholes. But, you know, they might have had some of that predilection in them, but for sure, they were trained. They followed examples, in my opinion. So T1 says, so to clarify, this touches Daniel's case on the prosecutor, the judge, and what else? The investigators covering up or fabricating on any of these separate cases? Is there a way to maybe be tied to this? And I don't know, T1, but I can't imagine that there's not. I can't imagine there's not some sort of something that will get, if at the very least, the upper echelon of the sex crimes unit, even if it's not Rocky and Bullwinkle. Um, if it's Tim Musney, Ron Basie, the Lieutenant Denise Wenzel, who knows? I don't know, but I can't imagine that there's just not some sort of trickle down from the DA's office into the sex crimes unit. Not with Gayland Gieger being such a huge part of that. He says, my point being, can the credibility of Daniel's investigators be damaged by this? That is key. I agree, and I hope so. I hope so. We're obviously going to keep digging, um, to see if we can find out. And T1 says, did Daniel have any knowledge of these accusations prior to his charges? I would say no. I doubt that he did. I don't think so. I Kay would be the one to ask. I have no idea. I can't imagine that he did, and it certainly isn't something I've ever heard of from him. So yeah, and yeah, you've always wondered why Daniel. We do too. We have some ideas, but we don't have any proof necessarily. So um, I don't know. We are still going to find out, though. I kind of the belief that I wasn't so much in favor of initially, but became more so. Um, but I kind of believe that it has to do with race.
I
Um,
wonder if Daniel was ever asked to prevaricate on the stand for the prosecutor and he refused, possibly in some other case.
I know that Daniel was supposed to testify in a case that he had of an arrest or a stop that he had made. But I don't know that it wouldn't have been in this, in that unit, where Gayland Gieger would have um, been involved. So I don't know. I don't know. I've never heard anything like that either. And I've read a lot, but I haven't read that. So I don't know. Hopefully everybody was blown away by that um, bit of information.
Blown away doesn't really quite cover it, but yeah, that's good to start. That's a good start. My God.
I really hope they all go down for this.
So do I. So do I, Susan. My God.
Yeah, I do too. And I think more than even Stephen, getting that kind of relief, I feel like Daniel has more of a chance of that relief at this point. Again, these are my opinions. I just feel like I can't explain to you. My feelings last night. I couldn't sleep, and I just couldn't quit digging. And then I got up early this morning after I slept probably 3 or 4 hours, and I was up early and digging more and going down rabbit holes and trying to remember, stay focused, Rhonda. You have to get this ready for tonight. So, I remember when the news broke about Henderson, I remember feeling really giddy, but nothing like I feel with this information.
Yeah.
So T1 says, well, think about the social tension at the time. This information getting out at that time would have caused a huge explosion. They needed a scapegoat, Daniel. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a way to think about it. Absolutely. Possibly. Yeah. And that might just be something else we'll have to start, looking into. Now, I do want to say, and Cherie can probably give me better idea if this sounds right or not, but I think that even if Daniel's case were to get overturned, I don't think that would affect the civil case, the civil suit. But I only say that because I always go back to the OJ case. He was acquitted at trial, but that he was still sued civilly. So I don't know. I could be wrong about that, but uh,
It's just because I'm not saying it will happen, but it's the burden of proof is lower for the civil case. It's just preponderance of the evidence, which is more than 50% likely, whereas beyond all reasonable doubt is, almost like
completely
really high. Yeah.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know that it will affect necessarily the civil suit, but if at this point, however we can get him out, and hopefully with overturned with prejudice would be amazing, but um, to even just to get granted a new trial would be also very, very helpful. But we really want to obviously get him out and get him home. So
Hey, Pom Pom.
oh, hi Julie, how are you? Good to see you.
Hey, Julie.
Thank you for coming. Kit the cat says the only defendants left in the civil suit now are, yeah, that's true too. I forgot about that.
Really?
Yeah,
What
Daniel
happened
and
to
the
everybody?
well, they all got
Oh,
granted.
defendants. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. The other because they had it was all the women, all the accusers, and then um, Daniel, of course, and then the city of Oklahoma, and then they were also suing Rocky Gregory, um, and another one of the cops, Bennett, I think was his name, and Bill City, the chief of police at the time. So now they've all been granted summary judgment relief, and so they've been dropped, and now it's just Daniel and the city of Oklahoma. So yeah, I forgot about that too. I don't know why, because it was. T1 says, but in a civil suit, the majority of the burden of proof is the standing conviction itself, right? That's a Cherie question.
Well, yeah, Kay said at one point that the ones that got guilty or were where he was found guilty on would have automatic
Automatic
relief.
relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, screw all of them. Pom Pom says, hi, everyone. I'm driving, so I'll be in and out. I wanted to say hi. Well, be careful. Just don't be, we've been giving shocking information, so don't let it make you unsafe. Okay, yeah, City, Gregory, and Bennett were granted summary judgment. So, so yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, I feel like we unpacked a lot. I still, I didn't make you sit through all of the reading of all the different articles and stuff, but I do have the letter from Mueller, or the notice of claim from Mueller. It's a 9-page document. I won't go into all that, but I will link these in. I have different rooms in Daniel's Truth in the Discord. There's one for Gieger, one for Prater, one for Henderson. I'll I'll figure out. I'll figure out. Well, like this one from Mueller, I'll put in Prater's room, but I'll put these other letters that were. I think there's a room for Hunter as well, Mike Hunter, because he. Well, that was all still from. Oh, okay, and then there is a letter from Mike Hunter to Bedner's attorney. Now, I also want to say, and I know this is going to sound so um, dramatic, over dramatic, or whatever, but. Um, Alex Bedner's case is really, really deep. It's been in the news. It was in the news in Oklahoma, I don't know, a year ago, maybe, couple of years ago. He's given some interviews on the news, and there has been some, you can find all of his information in oscn.net for that matter. So his whole case is a matter of public record. Um, so just yeah, you bet. T1, we were really excited to share it and happy to share it with you guys because I couldn't keep it to myself, and not that I was trying to keep it to myself, because we want to shout this to listen, you guys. I don't know who y'all in the chat. I don't know who your circles are or anything else or whatever. If you don't follow me on Twitter, please find me on Twitter and follow me. I should, let's see. I have it. I can put on there really quick. Follow me on Twitter because I don't do Facebook very much at all. Kay does. She posts quite a bit on Facebook. Plus, I can't. Jenny Daniel's sister has a Facebook page for him, and so of course, I'm sure that the news is all over that. But as for my part, mine's just, I'm going to be, putting stuff on Twitter and, posting in Discord and doing podcasts and things like that. That's how I'm going to be shouting out information. Find me on Twitter and retweet whatever it is I'm tweeting if you follow, if you use Twitter. Because we can't just let it go, especially knowing that, like Kay has mentioned, that the media has had this for a while and not said anything. Well, we can't wait for them. Obviously, we can't count on them, so we have to. It's up to us, and so we're gonna do it. Kit the Cat says the judge said he will not allow the case to be relitigated, meaning he can't even try to defend himself on the accusers for which he was convicted. Yeah. Right. So yeah, that civil suit isn't going to go anywhere, even if they overturn the original case. So
why even go to court? Just give him, a judgment. Jesus. He can't even try and defend himself.
Yeah, I know it does. It does seem, but hopefully with information from depositions, Kay has always told us, from the very beginning that the accusers are going to win the civil suit. She's certain of that, and or they're going to settle, and I don't know which is, settle, win, whatever, it's all the same. But so even though, Kay has always told me that, and I try to prepare myself for that, I just keep like hanging on to this thread. It's gotten very, very thin and long. And so I get, I understand, and it makes sense what she's always told me, but I just always hope, that something happens and, that they don't win. But anyway, if we could get a new trial for Daniel out of this, or better yet, overturned. And I don't know. I'm trying to think of other cases where, there's been prosecutorial misconduct and stuff like that's been proven. The very few of those that have, resulted in acquittals or whatever, exonerations, they still, a lot of cases. Well, in fact, I think it's the case still, if I'm not mistaken, with Sean. I can't remember his last name, in trial 4. I believe his case was his dismissed. Oh yes, his was finally dismissed. But I know at one point, or somebody's case was overturned or something to that effect without prejudice. And so, I think I got that right. I hope I don't have those backwards. With prejudice means it's done, over, finished. They can never be charged again. Is that right?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I believe that's what it is. So, anyway, so I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out. I mean, I know it's not going to happen, this year, or maybe even next year because there's going to be a lot of fighting and a lot of back and forth in the courts on, with the information that Stick has and isn't doing anything with, um, which is very frustrating. Like, how long is he going to sit on that? He's up for reelection next year too. And do we want to wait that long? Well, if it means something's going to really get done, getting a new governor, then absolutely. But if Stitt ever decides to get up off of his butt and really do what he said he was going to do, then let's do it.
They all only care about their political careers.
I know. And they all have to be like, scrambling right now, trying to figure out how can we work this so that it works out best for me.
Uh huh.
So, just I just hopefully somebody start, hopefully some of them start rolling so that we can, get this. But they won't. They're all too narcissistic and egotistical. So nobody's gonna be willing to just, give up or whatever, turn over any state's evidence or anything. So anyway, hopefully that was worth your while coming in and listening to the little bombshell that I promised, and hopefully it was for you. Um, Susan, anything else you'd like to add or bring up or talk about?
Uh, no, I think I'm good, Rhonda.
That's about, that's about all we can handle, right?
Yeah, my brain's empty.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
know. I know.
Which mine was, how did you do it? Tell me your trick, please. I want your secret. And if you tell me you got a drill out, then okay, we can talk. I'm
I
good.
told you, I sleep 8 hours every night.
I
Gosh,
can't do that. I wish I could do that.
that must be nice.
Yeah, 5 or 6, and I'm generally done.
Oh gosh. What about you, Jack? What else do you have to offer us?
I just want to see something happen in relation to everything reported in what we read there. All that there has to be, like I said, even if just one of those things is true, then there's real problems, and it needs to be addressed. And I want to see them taken down. I want to see them punished for what they did. I want the rest of the story to see if it will help Daniel.
Right.
The fact that it's coming from a state representative is a pretty
Yep.
big deal too, I think.
Yep,
Right.
and that former agent that was a Secret Service agent,
Mueller.
Mueller,
Mueller. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what does he have to gain out of this except a bunch of fucking heartache and trouble, right?
Right.
I mean, these are powerful people within the state of Oklahoma, so he knew that he's just trying to be a stand-up guy and do the right thing, and I say bravo for that guy. I mean, that's hard stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to see something happen.
Something. Yeah. Some sort of movement.
Yeah.
And a like a real legitimate positive movement forward.
I don't know, Rhonda. Maybe I'm not sure if you've ever written to Gayland Gieger, and I doubt that there would ever be a reply, but maybe a letter to him, even if it's a short one, and just attach this and say, "Is anything being done about this?" I mean, you've had this.
Yeah.
What?
I do write to him. In fact, I just wrote to him this week actually. But now that I have this information, I'm going to let him know that we're going to let him know that we know about it.
Good.
So, and you can let him know too. Everybody can. It doesn't just have to be, me, Cherie, Kay, whoever. All of us need to do it, really. we don't want Kay getting too involved, and oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's so much more impactful if you're from Oklahoma,
it is, it
because
is,
that's what he cares about.
it is. Um, Unfortunately, it could be trouble for certain people that live there. Um, and that was something I was going to say about Bednar. I know it probably sounds a little over dramatic or mellow, whatever, overly dramatic to say this, but Bednar, he really put it out all out on the line. And even though all of his information, like I was saying, is available on oscn.net, um, this letter coming out, and it, breaking it, if when it does get broken in the media, I think eventually it's going to have to, I hope. But his name is going to be even more visible. And when you read about everything that was done to Bednar,
Oh my God, he was screwed
yeah,
royally.
yeah, oh yeah, because in the
Oh my
65-page
God.
document that I will link in Daniel's Truth, in the entire 65-page document, it lays it all out there, what happened to Bednar, and wasn't right, man. It was bad. But he is really, really putting it all out there, and risking his safety, in my opinion, to so now that when I got this information yesterday, some of us were chatting about it, and in Daniel's Truth, and we were talking about that. It could be really dangerous for Bednar now that it's possible to come out into the light of day. Where people aren't having to go and search for it, and then not only search for it, but then try to uh, dissect those documents on your own. This letter, the exhibits in this letter, really put it into a little bit
Yeah,
of a simpler package for us to read.
clarity. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's pretty bad. So, and that's just that again, that's just parts of it. It's just, I mean, even beyond what was in this letter, which was shocking to me to learn last night. There's other things that I know about that weren't in a part of the letter. So there's I look forward to doing the right thing.
I
And
look forward to following Gieger's lawsuit.
oh yeah, yep. And
Oh yeah.
I we're definitely, hopefully, if we can keep it in the forefront. And I've been tweeting since last night, and I will continue to tweet anything I get, anything I read. And even if I have to repeat stuff that I've already tweeted, I will just keep retweeting it or tweeting it. And y'all can just, I don't, if you're not following me, follow me. I'll follow you back. And, I can start tagging you guys in Twitter, so you can get the notification and retweet it.
If
So
I see it, I'm going to retweet it. So
I know you will. I know you will. Absolutely. Cherie, I know you've been holding back. Uh,
Well, I'm just thankful for that Representative Humphrey there that, wrote that letter and put all this stuff out there. And I agree with you. We should keep hitting Governor Stitt over the head with it and make sure he knows we know about it. We're not going to let him forget.
I would
Right.
imagine Humphrey would keep reminding him as well.
I would hope. I would hope.
Yeah, that would be even better.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have to, find Humphrey's email address on that letter and start asking him, hey, what's going on?
Push, push, push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even, I think what I also am thinking, if we can make Stitt realize that word of that letter has been leaked out or gotten out, and that, as more and more people are going to find out about it, there's going to be more and more pressure on you. Hopefully he'll nut up and do something, get something
There's
started.
such serious charges. I mean, come
They
on.
really are.
oh yeah.
I mean, has anybody ever, besides Kathleen Zellner and us, has anybody ever said anything like that in Stephen and Brendan's case anywhere? that
No. Well, I mean, there are in the 2000, well, after the trials between 2007 and 2010, of course, there were reports, on Kratz and his actions that you can find them actually on convoluted brine from these various women that he assaulted. And this is just some of the things that he personally admitted to that are really, really sketchy and so far outside of his purview as a district attorney of 20 something years. But nothing. Right. No, we don't have any like whistleblower stuff, unfortunately. Not really.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's where we're at, and I guess is it Christmas next week? Is that what I understand from my daughter earlier today?
On Saturday.
Saturday,
Yeah.
next Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know if and I haven't even had a chance to talk with Cherie about this yet, but I don't know if we're going to do a show next weekend based on anything on the case, on Daniel's case. I kind of have something else in mind. I actually talked about it with Jack, I think Jack and Susan last night.
Yeah.
Just tossing out an idea for my channel, but and I'll talk about it with Cherie later. But unless something like breaks, unless we get more information about, anything that we talked about tonight, I will probably just be doing a pretty different, like a complete 180 next week for a little while, so that I have a show, but not necessarily related to the case at all. Say too much to Cherie. So anyway, you can plan on seeing us next Wednesday, and we'll have something to talk about, even if it's not case related or about any of the stuff we talked about tonight. I just, not that it matters or whatever, and I'm not trying to, nobody needs to say anything, but I have 2 members of my household who have COVID. So I am being very, very cautious and, staying even more isolated than I normally am. Masking up whenever I leave the room and making sure that nobody, breathes.
How are they doing, Rhonda?
My son-in-law says he's feeling better, a little bit better. He doesn't sound any better, but he says he feels better. My daughter doesn't really sound any better. She said she feels a little bit better, but she's getting exhausted very, very easily. And she said she's really, really troubled by her loss. She lost her sense of taste and sense of smell. She can't taste or smell anything. And so that's really, she said it's really, really bad. It's really upsetting and bothersome and a little depressing. So, but yeah, so I'm trying to get her to, she's off of work, obviously. And so I'm home from work, so I need to get this and this and this. And I'm like, no, and so today she was really exhausted. And then the kids, they're all sick, but they're not testing positive. So that's good. But everybody in the house is sick but me. So I'm just trying to, keep my face covered when necessary and, using all the extra precautions to sanitizing and stuff. So I think we'll be fine. So, all right. Well, I will I think we'll kind of end it here. We'll do something next Wednesday. I don't know what it's going to be, but it won't be case related unless something from what we talked about tonight.
It was the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a grouse.
What the hell's a grouse? Jack, be quiet.
Santa Claus.
Nobody
Santa Claus.
invited you to talk. I'm going to mute you.
Santa
I can mute you. Okay, you're
finding a place in the corner for a place to pee.
All right, he's muted. I'm done with him. Jack, blink twice if you can behave yourself. Keep your mouth quiet.
Fine, I'll behave. fine.
Oh, I'm just teasing.
I know.
Okay. I will leave it at that. Hopefully, you guys, please do me a favor and share this so that this gets out to other people as well, and people can listen to it, at their leisure, listen to it over again, and read the articles, please, that I put in the description. They really will help you understand more. And I'll put these other documents in Discord. And so until next time, we are going to talk to you all later. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year if we don't get to see you back next week. And in the meantime, peace out.
Peace.